Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn the last part of our syllabus for semester second, that is module number 7th. I thank you, God. Part first, that is the poem is about Thanking to the God by Bernard Dadie, who wrote about the thanking to the God and how he is a black man and talking about his suffering. Bernard Dadie was born in 1916 at Assini, Ivory Coast. He worked for the French government in Dakar, Senegal, returned to his homeland in 1947, and took active part in the movement for independence. Returned to his homeland in 1947 and took active part in the movement for independence. His writing is influenced by his experiences of colonialism. If all of you know what is the term of colonialism, see what is the colonialism? That is, British people established colonies in various Asian countries, and after that, how they suffered due to the colonies and the British people. He attempts to connect the message of traditional African folk tales with the contemporary world. Humanism and desire for the equality and independence of Africans is the feature of his poetry. See, about the poem, I Thank You God celebrates negritude. It has many biblical references and tries to identify in a way the black Africans suffering with that of Jesus Christ. It is truly an anthem for black pride. The poem powerfully recounts the crimes of slavery and colonialism, but significantly enough ends on an optimistic note, prophesying victory to the blacks. So, here we can understand how it celebrates the black man's pride and as well as suffering with that of Jesus Christ. It is truly an anthem for black pride. See what is the actual poem. I thank you, God, for creating me black. Remember how the term black is used here. Particular community that suffered due to the colonialism, for making me porter of all sorrows, setting on my head the world. White is the color for special occasions, black the color for every day, and I have carried the world since the first evening. I am glad of the shape of my head, made to carry the world, content with the shape of my nose, that must snuff every wind of the world, pleased with the shape of my legs, ready to run all the heats of the world. I thank you, God, for creating me black, for making me black, porter of all sorrows. 36 swords have pierced my heart, 36 fires have burnt my body, and my blood on all Calvaries has returned the snow, and my blood at every dawn has returned all nature. Still, I am glad to carry the world, glad of my short arms, of my long arms, of the thickness of my lips. I thank you, God, for creating me black. White is a color for special occasions, black the color for every day. and I have carried the world since the dawn of time, and my laugh over the world through the night creates the day. God, for I thank you creating me black. See, this is the actual poem. I thank you, God. See the interpretation of the poem. I Thank You God by Bernard Dadie describes the nature of blackness and the speaker's gratitude for the strength to carry the world. The poem begins with the speaker stating that he is glad to have been made in the form that he is in, although he is the total of all sorrows, as Christ was. He compared himself with Jesus Christ. He is happy to bear the weight of the world. He feels power in the blackness that does not exist within the white man, who only has the color impoverished for an occasion. He continues to describe the depths of his appreciation for his form. He is thankful for his nose, legs, and head, and the fact that they give him the strength to bear all that the world forces on him and on those like him. I give you thank you, thanks, my God, concludes with additional references to Christ and a comparison between the life of a black man and the crucifixion. The narrator begins this piece by speaking the line that will act as a refrain throughout each section of the poem and is also the praise for which the poem is named. The speaker directing his words directly to God gives his thanks for having created me black, while acting as both the refrain and title. This line is also the most important of the piece. It contains the main theme and purpose behind the poem's creation. The speaker wants his listeners and God to know that he is proud of and thankful for his blackness. He feels no wish that his circumstances were changed or any desire to be anyone else. So, in the beginning of the poem, we can understand how he is the black man thanking God for creating him black, and also how he calls that setting porter of all sorrows, setting on my head the world. The meaning of porter, a person who carries luggage and related objects. So here we can understand the luggage of the world is on his head. The speaker continues on to state that he is glad to have been made the total of all sorrows and to have the whole weight of the world on his head. This is in turn both an ironic statement and one that will carry a powerful truth as the poem continues. This line is a reference to a particular chapter of the Bible, Isaiah 53:3, in which Christ is referred to as being a man of sorrows, who is despised by all and we acquainted with grief. Thus begins the comparison between the black man and Christ. The speaker sees himself and all the black men of the world as bearing the sorrows of all people. They have been throughout time as the receiving end of unknowable pain and grief. In an expansion of this metaphor, the speaker continues on to describe himself as wearing the livery of the centaur. He is like the mythical half man, half horse, creature that inhabits much of Greek mythology. The speaker refers to his own perception of himself that has been changed by the perception of others. He is seen as less than fully human. In the final lines of this section, the speaker states that white is a color for particular occasion or for special occasions. It is fleeting state that does not imbue the man with true power. Black, on the other hand, is the color of all days. His cultural history is so rich and powerful that it will give him the strength to go on with the worldly burdens that have been his since the first night when God created man. After this dark and revealing image has been painted about what it is to be a black man living in the world, the speaker returns to his own particular emotions. Although the past, present, and future may be dark, he is happy, he is content with the shape of my head. The speaker is happy to be who is he. He is happy to have been endowed with the nose and head that enable him to exist in the world and bear its burdens. He continues on with his pattern of lines, stating that he is happy with the form of his legs that allow him to run through the world. This section ends with the speaker thanking God once more for having created me black. The poem is now coming to its conclusion, and the speaker once more turns to darker biblical imagery to describe the nature of his and many others' existence. That is, he refers to the 36 swords that pierced his heart and 30 brands that burned his body. These lines are again echoes from the Bible. It is hard to ignore the similarities of the speaker's suffering and that of Christ on the cross. Both were tortured for their natures and both used that suffering positively. This comparison is further solidified when the speaker says that the blood on all the Calvaries has reddened the snow. This is a direct reference to the hill on which Christ was crucified, Calvary. See the reference, that is 36 Calvaries. The meaning of Calvary is a life size representation of crucifixion of Jesus Christ on a piece of raised ground, the hill outside Jerusalem, which is traditionally held to be the location of crucifixion of Christ. So, here we can understand how it is compared with the particular themes, particular words from the Bible as well. His blood has been spilled around the world on every side, that is like Calvary. It has returned to the ground in all corners of the world. Once more, the poem turns optimistic as the speaker reminds himself and his readers that yet he is happy to carry the world and is content with his form. So each and every line describes us the condition of the black people, and that's why it is truly called as an anthem for black pride, and it powerfully recounts the crimes of slavery and colonialism. The final lines of this poem relates directly back to those in the first sections. He once more thanked God for making him in the form that he has. He is black and glad to be that way, even though it forces him to bear such weight and such torment. The speaker repeats for emphasis the fact that black is the color of all days. In the final lines, the refrain is said once more and is accompanied by the statement that his strength has provided him with the ability to laugh and through the laughter bring 40 days to overcome the night. So, here we can understand how the particular poem shows us the optimistic note prophesying victory to the blacks, and repeatedly 3 times he said in the poem, I thank you, God, for creating me black. And each stanza he has given the references of Bible, and at the same time he justifies those lines that why he is created as a black, and thanking why he is thanking God for creating him black. Here we end for this particular poem. Here in the next part, we will discuss, or I will place the objective questions uh, on this particular syllabus for your semester second and the forthcoming for your forthcoming examinations. Thank you.